Hey guys, what's up? Clayton here. This is easily the most important cryptocurrency video I've ever made, and it might actually be the most important crypto video you'll ever watch. And you're going to see why in a minute when I introduce our guests who've created the most groundbreaking decentralized blockchain in the world. And one of our guests is known as the father of Microsoft Windows because he actually built Windows alongside of Bill Gates. And in our interview, he'll explain why this new blockchain is going to be bigger than Windows. Yes, bigger than Windows. His words, not mine. I'm super excited about this because I've known about this technology for a number of months now, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it until now. So now I get to release this to the world. Here now is my interview with the team from Core Decentralized Technologies, Core for short. And what they've built is an absolute game changer. All right, so I'm here with the whole crew. It's like Brady Bunch style. All of the brains behind this incredible technology are joining me here live, picture in picture. And I thought we'll bounce around with some different questions on the team here. But Oki, I thought I would start with you. Briefly, sort of just give us the overview here. Please, if our audience doesn't understand what this is, you're really introducing the world right now to Core Decentralized Technologies. If you kind of want to break it down for us.
Sure. Thank you very much, Clayton. So my name is Okert Loopscher. I'm the CEO of Core Decentralized Technologies. And basically, to break down the company very briefly, there are three legs to the company and the software that we've developed. There's the highway itself, which is like the connectivity, the network, blockchain, these types of things. Then we have the financial sector, and then we have the marketplace itself. So to start off with, let's start off with the highway, as we like to call it, which is the network. So first and foremost, what we developed is our own blockchain. It uses the Edwards curve ED448, or other known as Goldilocks. And this is the elliptic curve and the cryptography which we have implemented. It's the only blockchain in the world that was able to implement this so far. And the reason why we did it is because it is being used by the secret services, CIA, FBI, as well as banking environments, governments, so for high level of encryption. And then what we did is apart from just focusing on security, we also focused on being eco-friendly, where we focused on IoT devices, where we have mining devices that is focused on CPU and a specific algorithm to make sure that IoT devices are more prone to the mining algorithm to prove the transactions. And it only uses 6 watts, the same as what you would use with a light bulb in your own home. And then what we did is of course, on top of that, we made sure that we can do the speed. So we can do a verified transaction in 42 seconds, and at the same time can do 1,000 transactions per second on proof of work. Now, on top of that, given the Edwards curve ED448 cryptography and the way that we built the algorithm, we're actually currently upscaling to 10,000 transactions per second, which is very similar to MasterCard and Visa networks to be able to do verified transaction. Of course, the data is instantaneously available, but the verified transaction is in 42 seconds. Then what we did is we developed a smart contract platform in our own language called YLEM. So where you can actually initiate smart contracts, even if you have an ERC20 Ethereum token or something, or smart contract, you can actually deploy that on our network because it works very similar. We focused on being blockchain and decentralized and peer-to-peer, but the most important thing is reach. So we then actually had a look at mesh networks, and we developed our own mesh networks with our own protocols, which we have written, which has got a 98% global reach.
I have a mesh network in my studio and in the house. How is your mesh network transformative? Because when we were talking about this over the past few months, I've just been blown away at this technology.
Okay, so basically what we did is we wrote our own protocols, and we use multiple forms of connectivity and streaming. So we have from radio frequencies right through to megahertz and gigahertz. Now, the radio frequencies is particularly for long distance. What we implemented in there is what is called epidemic routing, which means there's no IP address, but at the same time, the epidemic routing also allows for delayed transition to take place. So if two mesh networks, the Luna mesh networks, aren't connected, then you can actually port it through a mobile device, like for example in a truck or in a car or in a ship or in a plane or in a drone or unmanned devices. We can use internet, we can use GPRS networks, we can use Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all these types of various networks. So we're sort of like in multiple frequencies, which is the most feasible for the stream that we need to do. Now in the mesh network, as you know, given that you've got your own mesh network, the more devices that are connected, the faster the stream is. So we focused it on also deploying it on IoT devices. So you connect basically with a Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth, but what we do is you then actually also become a streamer, so or a node. So everyone connects to everyone's devices, and the more devices there are, the faster the network becomes. Basically, we can stream from our benchmark highest device can stream up to 500 kilometers with a single device in an omnidirectional stream. That's around about 300 miles, and we can stream up to 300 megabits per second. Now, given that, we actually built our entire blockchain into the mesh network, so you can do transactions without the need for internet. And because it's focused on IoT devices, it makes it even more feasible. Running a full node with decentralized storage, with the Luna Mesh connectivity, you're going to use a maximum of 13 watts per device, which is still extremely low. And then, of course, what we did is having built the highway, we then actually decided to build an entire financial section. So what we did is we built...
Yeah, this part is... So we built a mesh network, we built the highway, and then we decided to build an entire financial section on top of that. And then not to mention video calling, which we'll get to in a minute, but this is unbelievable. So this blew me away because living in Europe, trying to move money from, whatever... dollars to euro, to back and forth, whether it's using other services that cost an arm and a leg every time you're doing it. In the financial sector, this is going to be absolutely transformative. So let's talk a little bit more about the financial sector in what you guys have built here.
Basically, what we did is we built a hybrid exchange. Now, a hybrid exchange is basically you have the speed of a centralized exchange, but the security of a decentralized exchange. And how we did that is through the smart contract platform and building the exchange on the blockchain itself with the verification of 42 seconds per transaction. So that means when you're paying in 42 seconds instantaneously, so you don't miss out on these types of trades. But it's a peer-to-peer trading platform itself. And what we did is we're now actually established in multiple countries for multiple different reasons with multiple different licenses. And we have basically crypto to crypto, we have crypto to fiat and vice versa, we have fiat itself, then we have assets, commodities, securities, stable coins, stable tokens. We have then also what we're going to implement right now, or busy implementing, is the FIX protocol to trade stock, shares, and bonds also inside of the exchange. We then also decided to build a payment gateway so that you can pay via debit card, but also via any digital asset itself. So whether you want to tokenize a property, whether you want to pay in crypto or whatever you want to pay in, this is basically why we built the payment gateway. We also have what is called instant swapping. So even in the exchange as well as in the payment gateway, so merchants can select multiple currencies, and basically what they can do is they can define what it should be swapped to, of what is accepted for them to actually hold or receive. So if they want to accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and of course Core Coin or Core Token, then they can decide if they want to take, if they don't want to hold or keep Litecoin, for example, they can instantaneously either swap it to fiat, which is in dollar, or they can swap it instantaneously to Core Coin, Core Token, or Bitcoin itself.
I mean, you must have the financial industry just shaking. I mean, maybe they probably don't know about it yet, exactly what's going to hit them. But you think about the fees just to transfer US dollars to euros, right? Just that painfully slow transaction time and the amount of fees that you're shelling out just to do that. That's just going to disappear now.
Well, actually, we are pro-banks and we are pro-regulation. And basically what we did is we built the digital SWIFT transacting platform, which is also built into the core blockchain network. And what we did is we built IBAN standards, which is banking standards, into the address structures, which is called ICANN in our blockchain itself. So banks can actually use the system, and even MasterCard, Visa, anyone, any centralized environment can actually use it for 42 2-second instantaneous transacting. We are fully compliant with AML, KYC, PEP, CFT, all these GDPR compliant, because we built the digital identity to prove that you are the person that you say you are, and to be able to prove your funds.
Wow, so not putting them out of business, but really allowing them to build on what you've built.
Yeah, an infrastructure. So we're like the infrastructure and the support system for centralized environments. It's all about decentralizing and mobilizing liquidity for institutions. You know, if you take a large institution that needs to pay their office from the US to Europe, and it's a lump sum of money, this is going to take anything between 7 days up until sometimes 14 days for the funds to reach there, which means that capital is locked in and they can't do anything about it. But we actually provide liquidity that you can instantaneously actually have access to that capital and not be stuck with it. And of course, having built this, we also built the blockchain based banking as a service platform, which is like a new banking platform where you have your fiat, you can have your digital assets. We, because of the digital identity that we built with the website login, it's like probably one of the most secure website logins, because it uses it doesn't use a session token, which is in your browser, but actually it uses the blockchain to verify you and to verify your permission of the profile that you're logging into, which also means that the place that you're actually logging into has the most up-to-date data. We also have peer-to-peer connections that you can verify an individual, and this is actually for various of the other applications in the marketplace that we built.
This is incredible. I mean, the list of services that you guys have built here, the list of products and services is astounding. How long have you been in development here? Where did you get the funds to get all of this together? And how big is the team? We saw some of them here, which you're going to introduce some of them here in a minute, but how big is the team? Where did you get the funding for all of this?
Okay, so basically what we did is my father and I have been working in various different platforms already. Like some parts of this platform has been developed since 2003, from closed loop banking systems right through to analog to digital video recording and conversions. We did the largest IP site in South Africa, which we did the installation of 364 IP cameras with more than 500 kilometers of fiber optic cables, which we laid in. That's around about 300 miles. And then what we did is you know, my dad and I have always been working and, you know, saving funds and just continuing on developing. And in 2014, actually, we met Rastislav Ashichka, who's our CIO, and he introduced blockchain to us, and we started actually developing a lot of things there. And it's basically from our own funds, from other businesses that we did, other consultation work, transactions and things like that we did. And yeah, we've spent over 42 million in cash for the investment over the past 6-7 years. We have over 125 people in the company, of which I would say probably 80 something people, I don't know the exact number, because we're getting new people every day, are software engineers. They all work full time. And yeah, so I can tell you the rest of the part if you would like, of the marketplace, if you want.
Sure. Well, I mean, we'll get into all that. I want to hear from the other members of the team too. But you know, I imagine people watching this right now are going to say, okay, I'm going to go back and rewatch the beginning now, so I can go through all of the products and services and write all of these down, because there's so many here, and there's so many groundbreaking technologies that you guys have done here. I hope people will pay attention and go back and listen to that. But what differentiates your blockchain from currently established blockchains that we hear so much about, you know, Ethereum, you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Cardano, et cetera?
Okay, so first and foremost, what differentiates us is primarily the Edwards curve ED448, which is the particular cryptography for encryption, but it also allows for expansion and transaction speed and volume of transaction, which differentiates us entirely. Then the next thing is the YLEM smart contract platform. What we actually did there is we developed the language to be able to program regulation. So any regulatory environment that you're actually going to program, your smart contract to comply to. This is specifically why we built this particular platform and smart contract platform, so that you can actually program that exact regulation according to whether it's in the financial industry, whether it's in services industry, or whichever industry that is being regulated, that you can program your smart contracts according to that. And then, of course, focusing on IoT devices, and with the Edwards curve ED448, this is what differentiates us also, where we focused on not being power intensive or energy consumption intensive, but actually focusing on being more eco-friendly. And I would say the last thing that differentiates us is primarily the IBAN standards, which we have implemented, which is checksum, human legibility. It also has error detection and various of these types of fields that we've actually implemented into the address structure of the blockchain itself.
I want to bring in Douglas Anderson here because, Douglas, I mean, you guys are taking the company public. From what I understand, and this is a big deal as well. So taking this company public, and Oki, do you want to introduce Douglas here and you explain why this would benefit your shareholders and how this could benefit your shareholders?
Yeah, sure. I would say Doug is a longtime friend. We met in Romania at a very interesting conference about 2 years or more ago. And Doug's been following us, and we did a few things. And I can say that Doug gave us already many good advices, and given his background. So maybe, Doug, you can maybe tell a little bit about your background and maybe what is the reason why you advised us to go public.
Good to see you, Clayton. Yeah, so I met Core about 3 or 4 years ago at a blockchain summit that I was invited to be a guest speaker at in Bucharest, Romania, of all places. But it was the largest blockchain summit in Europe ever at that time. And they were keynote speakers in this summit. And I tried to start grasping their technology then, and then it just kind of hit me. My God, you know, they're going to revolutionize, not evolution, revolution, connectivity and transactions. And when I say connectivity, very soon, I would say probably within a year or so, because of their technology, you're going to log in for connectivity for the last time. So you know how when you go to the airport or check into a new hotel or you go down into the elevator or whatever, all of a sudden there's no connectivity and you're walking into Starbucks and you're saying, what's the passcode? That won't happen because of the mesh network that they're building, where each individual cell phone that's downloaded their software is itself a broadcaster, and it broadcasts to the next guy, and the next guy broadcasts to that guy, and it goes everywhere. And so that enables free internet to everyone, and free phone calls to everyone. And it's amazing technology. So when it finally struck me what Core is really all about, connectivity everywhere, all the time, it blew me away. And I thought right away, you know, I want to bring in the biggest guys on the planet related to exactly this. This is the biggest software since Windows. So I went and found the godfather of Windows, the guy who actually named Windows at Microsoft, and he's still on the foundation board, Roland Hansen. So I brought it to him. Then I thought connectivity. This is the biggest connectivity deal since cell phones. And so who is behind that? Well, one of the godfathers of cell phones is John Bayer, who is a managing director with Craig McCaw. McCaw Cellular was the infancy of cell phones. John worked hand in glove with Michael Milken to bring McCaw Cellular to AT&T, and that became the proliferation of cell phones everywhere around the world. So I brought John in. And keep in mind, every time I brought one of these guys in, it was validation that what I was seeing was true and correct, because these guys know. They see deals all the time. They know this stuff. The other thing John is the godfather of is really the proto Google. He was the CEO of Widevine. Widevine is the video streaming security for Google. It's really kind of the backbone of Google. And John was, they acquired him. He was also at Real Networks. Again, streaming and security for things like movies and music over the net and that kind of thing. So all of this, bringing those guys to the table, and then the impact that this is going to have on the economy. I went and tried to get the biggest economist I could find, Stephen Moore. He's on television every single day, one of the most known economists in the country. He was appointed governor to the Federal Reserve and on the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. Again, he saw the impact. And all of these guys looked at this and said, Doug, this is a $5-10 billion business as soon as it takes off. So if you can imagine the impact of the transaction capabilities here, transactions in 42 seconds flat. I mean, today you want to wire funds from Munich to Mexico City. You're looking at probably 3 to 5 days, maybe 7. So think about the amount of commerce that's frozen, the assets that are frozen during that time, and the amount of money it costs to move that stuff, where these guys do it in 42 seconds flat. Once banks have that technology, and Core isn't putting banks out of business, they're enabling banks, they're modernizing banks. Their technology is built around IBAN and SWIFT and all of the security measures that are needed for that. So this is the real deal. They've spent over 6 years and over 42 million out of their own pocket to build this. So when they say free internet and free connectivity, that sounds great, but how does a company make money offering free stuff? Well, free is kind of the hook, and it's also their philosophy, which is great. But what they do is they offer platforms that lay on top of that you can use if you want. One of them is banking as a service. That's not trivial. I mean, there's 1.7 billion people in the world that don't have banking services. And so this makes that available to them. And it's not just a third world problem. Over 20% of people in the USA don't have a bank account. And this can provide that kind of thing. And that's a huge thing for banks too. Banks want to reach those people. That's kind of like the brass ring. And so there's definitely a lot of commerce in that play. Another thing is the e-commerce software that they've developed. It's unbelievable. You can take a picture of something and it'll tell you how much each piece of clothing or item that picture contains, how much it is, where you can buy it. You can use any kind of form of currency you want instantaneously. It's amazing technology. And so these are the things that layer on top. Video streaming is another that are very reasonably priced, but offer services. And so that's where the revenue play is on this. With the blockchain, I've been involved with blockchain deals before. Last year, I had one of the hottest performing stocks on the OTCBB. We opened at $2.50. We shot up all the way to $67. And these guys are game changers on blockchain transactions. And the big problem with blockchain is it is not green. There is a lot of pressure to mitigate the amount of power that's being sucked for the mining activity. And so, normal transaction with, let's say, a Bitcoin, it could take anywhere from a couple hours to all day to transact. And it's going to consume about 1,400 watts of electricity. The blockchain technology that Core has come up with, and their super secure ED448 cryptology, has got these transactions at 42 seconds. And they consume about 6 watts of electricity. I mean, an order of magnitude less than 1,400 watts, and an order of magnitude faster. So this is just literally, it's Internet 2.0. So, that's the hook. The hook is the free internet, free connectivity, which is beautiful. I mean, their philosophy is they believe that connectivity should be a human right, just like free water and free air. You should have free connectivity. The guy who's in Accra, Africa, should be able to pick up his phone and talk to his son that's a cab driver in Manhattan. And that should be free. Why not? Because the phones that we buy are capable of connecting to each other. And, Core has developed this blockchain. It's very significant, with over 1,000 nodes all around the world. That's a very significant network. But eventually, because so many of those nodes, the individual phones and things, connect to each other, they won't own that network anymore. It'll literally be the people's network. They helped it grow. It's kind of like an infant that starts to crawl, and then pretty soon it's a teenage, pretty soon it's out of the house and gone, and now it's got its own life. That's what's going to happen with this blockchain. It's the first time ever something like that will ever happen.
There's John. I would love to hear your thoughts on being brought on the team, John.
So I am thrilled to be involved here. I have spent a career that's basically been about the creation and monetization of networks, which allow people to move media, communications, and commerce in a faster and more robust way. And this is just a continuation of that, to a level that quite frankly I was skeptical at first, and as I look at the technology, I'm floored at how it's solving myriad problems that various networks have had before.
So were you just blown away by the technology, the underlying technology, when you started digging your hands into this a little bit more, and you started to see that this is not, I can't be skeptical anymore? What was the thing that actually said, wow, this is the real deal?
I'm not a significant technologist, but I've been around all the little pieces of this business. Everything from the GPRS frequencies utilized for the mesh network to the all the various efforts of protecting media, to how you go about commerce in this type of environment, and the elegance of putting these all together in the method that Core has completely floored me, quite frankly.
I want to bring in Roland as well here on this question, and get your take on this, Roland. When you were approached by Douglas on this project, what did you think when he started diving into some of the core technologies here?
Well, it was deja vu all over again for me. It was like the first time I met Bill Gates, and Bill convinced me to fly up to Seattle from Los Angeles, and I met with Bill in his office literally for a day, and my head was just spinning at the end. And I, when in meeting Oki and his father and Doug walking me through this, it really was. I never thought I would be involved with something bigger than Windows, because I think maybe Doug has told you that I basically named and launched Windows globally, and I never thought I could be involved with something that's bigger than that. Windows is is one of the dominant technology brands in the world today. But by the time I got done with the conversation with Oki and his father Michael and Doug, the first time I said, "Oh my God, I've got to be involved in this. This is going to become. Actually, I think this will become bigger than Windows as a brand."
Wow. That's saying something. Bigger than Windows as a brand.
Well, it's going to be, Clayton,
Yeah.
because when you look at it, when you just think about the not just the financial community, but everything it's going to touch, and the ability to process a transaction in less than a minute, in 42 seconds, the ability to deal with the environmental issues that are going on with blockchain. I mean, these are gigantic issues, and this is a game changer.
And let's talk about the economic impact of that. And that's where I want to bring in Stephen Moore, because we haven't even talked about that necessarily yet. And Stephen Moore, of course, brilliant economist. I've had the pleasure for many, many years interviewing on a broad range of economic issues. Stephen, have you ever seen anything like this?
Well, it's just an amazing technology. I'm really thrilled to be part of this incredible team, by the way. I mean, talk about brainiacs that we have involved here. And so I really got turned on to this when Douglas first started telling me about the potentials of just transforming this technological digital revolution and bringing it into every home and every basically iPhone or BlackBerry in the country and in the world. And one of my big thoughts about this, and I'm on the board of several cryptocurrency companies, and so I really delved myself into this new digital currency age. Is that we're looking at a company that's now maybe valued at what, 10, 20, 30 million dollars, that if the experts on this call are right, that know a lot more about technology and have developed great technologies in the past, I really believe we're talking about a company that could be worth 10, not 10x, but 100x of what it's valued at now. Now, though, a lot can happen, but I think that's the potential is there for this to take off like a rocket ship. I'm so thrilled to be on the ground floor of something this big. And, you're talking about the economic benefits of this kind of technology, potentially in the hundreds and trillions of dollars as we talk about the global impact in terms of reducing the costs of all of these transactions and all of these communications that happen, billions of times a day.
What industries do you think would be most disrupted by what these guys have come up with?
Well, I think you should ask the technology experts here that question. But I would say that if I were, one thing that really surprises me about this is that this technology wasn't already developed by a Microsoft or by a company like Facebook. I mean, think of how this would change. Will change all of the communications and stuff that go on through Facebook, all of the video streaming. I think almost every aspect of digital technologies and communications will be changed. The disruptive, I don't know if this will disrupt those industries as much as be additive to it. Will enhance the value of all these other companies as well.
Right, like what Oki talked about, and I bring Oki in here on that point. We talked about the technology side of this, but to have that ability to be an additive for banks, for people like Facebook or YouTube. I mean, you're not putting YouTube out of business with this technology, right? Maybe you will.
Well, as you know, the marketplace that we developed, we developed two parts to the marketplace. The one is, of course, e-commerce. I don't particularly want to mention names, but there is one conglomerate out there that everyone is ordering from. But we built something very similar, but it's a peer-to-peer, decentralized, and borderless platform. But what we've done different is we allow people to customize their entire shop, and then opened up the API and oracles so that centralized environments can actually connect directly to it, and they can still have their stock management and their uploading of products and everything in the same way that they've already done it, not needing to learn new software or something like this, and instantaneously port it. But what differentiates us also is that we have the discovery page and the multi-cart and content recognition. So with the discovery page, you can select a particular product and find the best store or the best deal, or someone's having a sale on that particular product, and you can actually find it. But with the multi-cart, we allow you to buy multiple products from multiple merchants in multiple currencies in multiple countries with a single transaction. Now, what differentiates us here also is that we secure the buyer as well as the merchant. The merchant can earn more money on the duration of the shipment that actually takes place. And whilst I was mentioning earlier about the stable token, we actually have, this is one of the stable tokens that we built in, because the minute that I as an individual bought something, that value of that particular product and that amount of, let's say for $100, that amount never fluctuates, because that's 100% locked in, and the duration that it takes to ship to the house of where it needs to be delivered, that value will never change. And that is stability. That's a real stable token, a real stable monetizable value that you can actually state, I can hedge against this. And this is one of the stable tokens that we built, but it's also, if the person is not happy with the product, instantaneously they can get their money back within 42 seconds and don't need to wait. And of course, the merchant, they make money on top of it by allowing this duration of the period for the shipment to take place. Instead of the bank holding the funds, they actually earn money on it. Then on top of that, what we did is the content recognition, where you can scan and recognize any product in a video, image, audio, as well as even in real time. So you can monetize any set, any YouTube video, any video or any audio or any image that you can see, like in a magazine or on a billboard or a logo or something like this. Even if you walk past an individual, we have pattern recognition, so we can pick up products which has got the same pattern. We can pick up an entire outfit. We've got solutions for social media influencers, where they can create their own stores, stylists, and for example, interior decorators. They can set up their own stores without needing to have the product, but they can actually put the set together, and either for a fee, an individual can just buy the entire set as is. And then what we did is we built the video streaming platform, which is very similar to YouTube, but ours is borderless, serverless, peer-to-peer, and decentralized. What we basically did there is multiple solutions. The first solution that we did is we allow you to have on a single account multiple channels, and because you have the core pass digital identity, you can actually set up the permission inside this channel itself. The most
securely.
Securely. Yes. And then of course we to upload the content is one of the biggest hassles, specifically if you're doing live streaming here. You've got multiple different projects or multiple different softwares that you need to use. So we built a video calling platform with an OBS built inside of it, but you don't need to download an application because it's all browser based. So you can directly stream into your channel. You can even record it into your channel, make it private. And how we see content, whether it's an image that you're uploading or whether it is a video that you are streaming or uploading, we see content as a digital asset. And the reason why we see it that way is because it has a real monetizable value. So for example, if you're using our streaming platform, when you say this is my content, you fingerprint that actually into the blockchain. But how you fingerprint is you actually watermark and fingerprint each pixel inside of the video itself, but it's attached not to an image or something, it's attached to your digital identity. So you have various verifications inside. And if someone wants to share the video, whether they're using it for a promotional item or whether they're sharing it for just their own pleasure, they have to request the permission.
I brought John in there. I want to get John's take on this from a communications perspective. John, with all these devices out in the marketplace and we have an existing footprint out there, given your background, what impact and difference do you think that Core would be able to make to the current and existing communications industry, given what what Oki was just talking about.
As I mentioned, I spent a good part of my career both originally developing communications via cellular, and then streaming media. And what they are doing is they're solving a number of the restrictions and mitigating effects on those marketplaces. And I had mentioned earlier, in talking with Oki and Doug, the significant piece of this for me is the demand for all of this exists. The demand is tremendous for everything that they are doing and accomplishing. And so often in a startup business, you have to create demand yourself, and you have to do demand creation. And this is a marketplace which is screaming for all of these capabilities. I love the philosophy of attempting to do this as an open source and collaborative method, rather than attempting to completely disrupt all other industries. Just be as cooperative as possible, and I'm absolutely, the sky is the limit here.
Roland, I can also see your side of this when you talk about it being as disruptive or as huge as Windows. I feel like that this could literally span the globe and have as many touch points, if not more so, than Windows. Now that I'm seeing all of these different tentacles.
Clayton, this is why I say that. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, you look at how pervasive Windows is today as a global brand, but this by far could exceed that. I mean, I feel blessed. People get involved with a global opportunity once in a lifetime, to have this opportunity to dive in and create the core brand, given how many touch points it's going to have. It's amazing to me. I mean, as I've told Doug multiple times, my head is spinning in terms of how we want to message this to make sure that it's positioned properly.
I'm going to throw this question out to the whole team here. How likely do you think these different industries will be to look upon this as an additive, something that they can build and grow from, or that they might see it as disruptive? How willing do you think that the financial industry, for instance, will be willing to jump on this to speed up transactions or improve customer service, et cetera?
Well, I can start off with saying we are already in several discussions with several financial institutions, that's banks as well as governments. Of course, in the United States, in Europe itself, in Africa and in South Africa, and the banks are all starting to look at new and different technologies. We are quite far down the line with several of these banks that we are actually discussing and going to implement the settlement platform itself, because they also see it as a cost effectivity. They see it as instantaneous transacting. It's not about doing one transaction per 7 days or 14 days, but rather doing mass transactions. The important thing to understand is that you can never do this without banks. You cannot do this without ISPs either, because basically we are an infrastructure to either be a last mile reach or to be the infrastructure to supply them with a way on how they can fasten up the process, make it more cost effective, but do more transactions. So the roles just change a little bit, but there are still the same roles in there. There's still the regulation, there's still the governments, there's still the banking and the financial services providers, there's still insurance providers. There's everything that we are just trying to support. And I can say it has been difficult to speak to several of these. Some people, as soon as you mention blockchain, immediately they say not interested. But there are certain ones which are open to it, and those ones we go into negotiations with, and I can say that we have been successful in some of them.
Well, yeah. It's funny you say that. I mean, it reminds me of people laughing about the motorized car. While people are sitting there on horses, right, Roland? I mean, these are the same people that were laughing at horses, and they get left in the dust. Let's talk about the token piece of this and the core token. talk about that. What is it? How can people buy into it? And how can people take advantage of this and being a part of this experience right now?
So, Core Token is actually the holder of most of the smart contracts. The interesting thing about Core Token, what we've actually developed there is, you see, you have the core blockchain network, which we built actually for the network, not really for the coin itself, but the native currency is Core Coin. And then like Ethereum has gas, we have what is called energy. But what we've done in Core Token is we actually made Core Token that you are able to make an on-chain transaction without the need of the native coin or the energy on a very particular way on how we built it. But it's still an on-chain transaction, but the only transaction that you're sending is basically Core Token. Now, Core Token, it's available to purchase on pre-sale. It will end on the 11th of August because of our going public, and also because we are actually entering mainnet and livenet. And this doesn't mean it's going to be live on the 11th of August, but we are actually entering into it, and we're selling out quite fast with the token itself. And basically the token is a utility token for a future service, because Core Token is the payable currency, or the payable, let's not call it a currency, but a utility for the payment of the service that you're going to use, whether it's in the meeting platform for video streaming, e-commerce, whether it's for your digital identity, whether it's for certain things in Ping Exchange itself, or in the payment gateway, or whether you want to do something particular in the mesh network. So this is all payable for the services. So it's basically a future service that you're purchasing. And that's how we established Core Token itself.
And I should mention, we have a link in the description of this video for people to take advantage of that. See if they want to go there and invest and learn more about it. And as you said, it's going fast, right?
Yeah.
So
we only have a 1 billion supply, and given all the use cases where it's implemented with an 18 decimal place, you can imagine what's going to happen.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. Well, I guess bottom line it for us, I want to bring kind of everyone back here, but just if I bring all the everyone back here. There we go. All the faces back here. I guess, Oki, Doug, Roland, John, Stephen, you guys want to sort of bottom line here, like what, how do you see the next few weeks and next few months going for Core, and how excited are you guys? I'm excited. As I was telling my wife about all these pieces, she's like, get out of here, get out. That's not even possible.
Can I go first? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Stephen, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I had a computer glitch there. Look, I feel like I'm Ringo Starr and have been asked to join the Beatles. This is just a cool technology. I want to be the drummer. You guys make the music. But it's an incredible team. It's incredible technology. It has the capacity to become, in my opinion, a multi-billion-dollar company that will add value to so much of the blockchain. And one last thing that I didn't mention before that I think is really important and attractive about this new technology is that the whole issue of financial privacy, which is increasingly critical to investors and traders and people who are involved in the banking and their purchases of goods and services, their communications. Privacy, it seems to me, as I look at this technology, is going to be significantly enhanced. And that's kind of a new frontier of technology, is protecting people's financial privacy.
What's amazing to me is, people think of Windows now because it's so pervasive, but Windows was not an overnight success. Windows, it was an evolution to get people onto Windows. The scary part about Core is I think the demand is going to explode. Just staying on top of it. That's what I've been saying to Oki and Doug and Michael is, my concern here is that the demand is going to just explode because it's going to impact so many touch points.
Okay, I'll give you sort of some final thoughts here. Where do you, how excited are you for the future? I'm sure that you've been eating this, sleeping this, breathing this every second of the day. So you're probably not removed from it very much.
It's a lifestyle. Let's put it that way. But it's passion. And the thing that I can say is I cannot wait to deploy, which is what we are currently doing. Just to answer you on how does the next few weeks look, we have partnered with VNet, and we're actually deploying in Bratislava, Slovakia. Where we are deploying the network and then actually going to test the network, and then we're going to stream it to 500,000 people population there who can use the network itself and all the services. We're currently in negotiations with some ISPs here in Cyprus. We already have all the units to deploy here in Cyprus, so we're just trying to finalize the deals here so that we can immediately start deploying it, because Cyprus has, I'm currently in Cyprus, so it's really horrible internet, and we're trying to make a big difference here. Then we have in South Africa, we have several things that we're actually deploying there, where we are in several negotiations with several different entities. Unfortunately, I can't mention too much due to confidentiality. We also are looking in the US, but we do have a little bit of problems with going to the US with traveling with COVID, unfortunately. So it is a bit hard to deploy when you can't reach there. So,
right.
But we are looking at several use cases. We are looking at several deployments. We are extremely excited. I think we are more eager than the token holders currently just to get it out into the market.
Well, it's been a real pleasure having you all here. Like I said before, we'll have a link below to all of the things that we talked about today. Check out the tokens. They're going fast. They're going to be gone before you know it. So get your hands on them now if you can. I just want to thank all of you guys for joining us and sharing your thoughts about this incredible technology and making it, bringing this to the masses. Everything that you guys have done, I think this is going to be absolutely disruptive, transformative, and additive, most importantly, for the world. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so, bullish on crypto technology in the first place. Is to help transform the world, to help bring it as an additive to people, to improve their lives around the world. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Sky's the limit. Congrats on the project, and I can't wait to see where everything goes, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.